talk about how the Trump administration may have done something good. Stay tuned.
Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
The Trump administration is doing something good, doing something based even, doing something really cool, and that is taking stock in Nvidia for the massive subsidies that our government has given this company. Which, if you're hearing that, the federal government gave Nvidia something like $10 billion. Billions of dollars the government gave this company. And so now the government is getting 10% of the stocks of Intel. And so you might think, if you're just kind of thinking not super ideologically, you might thinking, that sounds like a normal thing. You would think that, okay, well, the government is going to give something to the company and they're going to get something in return. They're going to get something for that investment, right? That's what I think. I think it's just a normal thing that just makes good sense. If we are going to invest in a company, and that's what these grants is from the CHIPS and Science Act and the Inflation Reduction Act, we are investing in the success of these companies. And, in one sense, people who are against stuff like this say, oh, well, the government gets the rewards from the investment because of all the jobs that it creates. And because of, because we are, it will help us win the competition against China or whatever, as if, that's something that we're supposed to be really, really concerned with. And so that's actually how we get a return on our investment. It's just generally good for the country to invest in companies that are going to do well and to help them do better. And, that's true, but also, it's not true, because actually the literal return on the investment, as in the dividends and the growth of the stock price, is going to go to shareholders, to people who just have money and are making money from that money. And so that's actually where the literal return on investment is going. The return on the investment from the American people, from the federal government, is going to shareholders. And I think that is BS. I think that actually we should get a return on that investment. And the Biden administration disagreed with me because because everything in this country is so politically polarized that if you just take a common sense idea like, oh, the government is investing in the success of a strategically important industry, the government should also have an ownership stake in that company. But if you suggest doing that as a Democrat, then you are tarred with the label of socialist, as if that's the worst thing in the world. You're a communist, and everybody hates the idea. It's a terrible idea. It's going to be the destruction of the free market economy, blah, blah, blah. Everything is going to, it's all going to, the world is going to burn, right? And, but because Trump did it, and Trump's a Republican, so he can't be a socialist. And so, the media is just like, oh, well, I guess it's fine. I guess it's not really that big a deal that, now the the government is going to own 10% of this stock. And it's just very frustrating to see that kind of thing because it is objectively a good idea. It's obviously a good idea. It just makes sense. But because Trump do it, it's like, that's fine. It's not a big deal. The markets are fine. Nvidia stock is up over the last month, actually. And, it's like, so, Hey, 5 seconds. Just wanted to say that this is only possible because of our donors. If you want to see more of this, then consider donating yourself at tvlr.fm/donate. But because I'm not like, a partisan hack, I'm a working person first. I'm a union member first. I'm a union partisan, but I'm not like a partisan for the Republicans or the Democrats. I can say, look, this is a good thing. And hopefully, this is going to set a precedent, right? Hopefully, things like this is going to set a precedent that going into the future, whenever the government invests in companies no longer have the expectation that it's just free money and they have no obligation to the American people subsequent to this reception of the free money from the American people. And if we have elections again, and there's a Democrat that takes office, and they want to do something like that, hopefully, the dam has broken, and and everything is going to be, and we're going to be able to just propose these common sense ideas, and people aren't going to, wet the bed. Surely that's going to happen, right? I mean, if you have a President AOC proposing to take over, 10 to 20% of a company because we've invested in that company, surely Republicans are going to say, oh yeah, well, Trump did it, so that's fine.
Right. That's Trumponomics.
Yeah.
I mean, that's perfectly reasonable. I would be shocked if there's any hypocrisy.
No. Yeah, of course.
I would be shocked.
That would never happen. And so that's why I am saying that I'm looking forward to the world, because we don't have any hypocrisy. And so I'm looking forward to the world where both sides of the aisle can utilize this absolutely common sense tool for the betterment of the American people. And looking forward to seeing no hypocrisy from that. One of the things that the Trump administration is saying is that that is frustrating is that they said that the United States will not seek direct representation on Intel's board and pledged to vote with the current board of directors on matters requiring shareholder approval, quote, with limited exceptions, according sorry, I got a frog in my throat, according to a joint release from the Trump administration and Intel. And see, now this I don't understand. It's like, it seems like from the Trump administration's perspective, the benefit of this is primarily about, the government getting dividends and stuff like that, and the value of the growth of the stock, rather than actual, and that is a real benefit. That's a real benefit, and that has a lot of value. But there is also a value in the government being able to halt some of the worst impulses of a corporation, right? I mean, we've seen corporations over the last 50 years, just totally decimate workers, go overseas, abandon communities that have built their companies for slave labor. We have seen companies cut wages. We've seen companies do massive layoffs, to support automation and stuff like that. And so if the government has shares of these companies, they should be seeking direct representation on the boards of directors of these companies, and they should be pushing back against bad anti-worker, anti-community, anti-American proposals that are going to come from capitalists, because the capitalists do not care about the workers or the community or the country. They care about making a profit. And so we should have a representative of the people on these boards of companies that are so dependent on the American people, the American government, for their success, so that we can halt those terrible, terrible impulses. And workers should also have representation on the board of directors. The board of directors should represent the shareholders, the people, the government, and the workers. There's another common sense idea for you, but I don't know. We'll see. Appreciate everybody hanging out with us in the chat. Some good conversation about stuff going on in there. Appreciate that. If anybody wants to call in and talk about any of that, you're welcome. 844-899-TVLR. So yeah, there we go. The Trump administration did a good thing. Now owns and controls 10% of Intel. Yeah, that's good.
Way to go, being fair and balanced.
That's right. Fair and balanced. Nobody loves fair and balanced more than me. That's what they say.
That's why people tune into the Valley Labor Report to hear the correct news.
You just saw a clip from the Valley Labor Report. We are live every Saturday morning from 9:30 a.m. till 12:30 p.m. And we pride ourselves on keeping all of our content free to everybody so that we can talk to as many working folks as possible. If you support the work that we're doing, you think that it's important, you think that it's good, then consider making a monthly contribution to the project, and you can do that on our website, tvlr.fm.